Welcome into the Trevecca Sports Network. I'm Lucas Panzica, joined today by a head coach whose program, under normal settings, would be playing the regular season right now. It is women's soccer head coach Kelsey Fenix as she enters into her fourth season at the helm of the Trojans program. Kelsey, happy Friday. How are you?
Hey, Lucas. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. We started training on Wednesday, so I'm extra excited this week.
I'm sure. And like I said, it is your fourth year. You start training with your players on this roster that every single player was brought to Trevecca by you as the head coach. How crucial is that as you kind of navigate this new normal that we're in?
Yeah, I think, there's always a transition period when, as a new coach. And I think now going into my fourth season, the style of play on the field, things that we're communicating that were new at one point are now these older players have heard them for the last few years. And then just the culture of the team, it's a lot less kind of teaching, here's who we want to be. And it's more like, look, here our juniors and seniors are showing you kind of what the culture is. So that's huge just to have a couple years under my belt and the team just be really familiar with how we're asking them to play and how we're asking them to kind of shape the culture of the team.
Of course, you're not able to be in the early stages of the season like you would normally be, but you likely won't get any competition against other teams until possibly the new year in the spring. So what does that give you and your team a chance to accomplish here in all this extra prep time?
Yeah, it's killing me right now, and I'm sure them too. But yeah, I think something that we did with the team a couple weeks ago, had them listen to this awesome podcast by Andy Stanley, and he kind of talks about redefining the win. And so, for us, we typically come in, they're right into preseason. We've got games to prepare for, and that's obviously completely different right now. We don't have a game at any point probably this fall. And so, we just have started to redefine, okay, what do we want? We don't want this to be wasted time, right? So we talk a lot about, it's called marginal gains. So getting 1% better every day. And that's something that we typically focus on in our off season, which is now. And so, yeah, we'll do a lot of player development, a lot of technical work, helping. It's actually really awesome to be able to kind of evaluate players this fall before going into a season, because we've actually got 11 freshmen this year. And so to be able to just have them acclimate into college soccer and just into this team is actually, I think, a huge plus to all this.
Yeah, how common is that in your experience? 11 out of your 28 players on the roster are freshmen. And does that create somewhat of a silver lining with the situation we're in, that these girls will have some more time to get ingrained into your program?
Yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say it's too common. That's a pretty big class. Our classes are anywhere between, 7, 8, 9 players, but this is a little bit bigger. We actually only have one senior, so that's kind of part of the reason why our freshman class is so big. But I think it's awesome. It's a great group of girls. And I do think that is, the ability to train and not have any immediate competition, I think, is a huge silver lining in this. Last year, we also had a big freshman class, 10 players, and their first game was against the number 4 team in the country. And so it was like, whoa, welcome to college soccer. It was just a really tough, and we want it that way. We're going to continue to play teams that are that good, but that's a pretty tough first game to have as an incoming freshman.
Well, and that one senior that you mentioned is Lexi Hayes, played in every game a season ago. How do you describe her role on this team, whether it's on the field or just as a leader?
Yeah, Lexi's been awesome. I think, over the last couple of years, just seeing her maturity has been it's just so fun to watch her kind of grow into a good leader. And, she's not going to be the most vocal, but I think she just does a great job of just connecting with all of her teammates, really, and she really cares about them. And so I think that's kind of what she leads from. And I'm super excited for her just to finish out her career on a really high note. So yeah, she's done a great job.
Back to some of these younger players, we mentioned 11 freshmen. I mean, that's enough to field a team right there. How much do you try and work with those players just as a freshman class, or do you find it important to have them in a team setting with the whole roster most of the time?
Yeah, we don't divide training up into any sort of class group. So they've already jumped in with everybody else. But yeah, it's an awesome group. I think we've done a good job of communicating, like, here's Trevecca, here's our program, and just the type of people that we're attracting are just really awesome young women. And they're from all over the place. We've literally got people from coast to coast, Massachusetts to California and everywhere in between. So that's really fun too. I just love having people from all different places and just different backgrounds coming into a team is why I love a team sport and what I think is what makes it so unique.
So if you could detail for me what you guys are going to try to do this fall in terms of inter-squad scrimmages, getting these girls as much of a game experience as you can. What do you have lined up, Kelsey?
Yeah, so right now, the first couple of weeks will be sort of reacclimating them to training. You know, they haven't trained in over 6 months, really. And so a lot of it will be technical stuff, small-sided. So, you know, 4v4, 5v5, that kind of stuff. And then we're hoping to do a couple purple versus white games and just divide the team up and have kind of a cool, we'll have them in their uniforms. We'll do it at night under the lights and just kind of make it, you know, very game-like as much as we can. One of the main goals of this fall is, to compete and to get better. And like they've been out of soccer for so long, like they just need some consistency and honestly just enjoyment and fun. And so we're just trying to create just as much competition as we can. And that makes it fun for us. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for the next couple weeks.
Another thing you have to look forward to, you'll be taking the field hopefully soon on a brand new turf field. What excites you about that with your program?
Yeah, it's an awesome addition to our athletic facilities. Our game field is an incredible grass surface, but this turf field is just a great addition for, you know, when we've had a ton of rain. It's just another option so that we're not having to go indoor or alter our training too much. So I'm really excited to use that. And there's several teams in our conference that their home field is turf, so we'll be able to train there the day before we leave for an away game and just kind of get acclimated to that surface.
What's the difference then? And you say training to get acclimated to the surface. What are the biggest things that you need to accomplish when you're preparing to play in that setting?
Yeah, most turf fields tend to be a little faster than grass and a little bouncier. So just trying to get them to get a bunch of touches on that and just kind of get used to the way the ball is bouncing. It's not going to be the exact same as their field necessarily, but it at least gets them used to the pace of it a little bit better.
We've talked about your newcomers as a class and your lone senior in Lexi. Who are some other players that you need to play a big role this upcoming season?
Yeah, we've got a really strong junior class. There's 7 players in that class. That was my first recruiting class, and so they've been here. This will be their 3rd season, and I think, you know, they came in and had a huge role to play. A lot of them played a ton of minutes their freshman year. And so we've got 2 players off the top of my head. Mckenna, Schlosser, and Gigi Ariola have been huge contributors over the last few years. And now they've got so much game experience, which is awesome. And there's several other players in that class. And I think, you know, experience is something you can't teach, right? So for them to have had you know, they've played, as I mentioned, last year, we played a couple teams that were in the top 10. Same thing the year before that. And our schedule that we were supposed to play this fall had a couple top 25 teams as well. And so they have some good experience in postseason GMAC play as well. So that class has a huge responsibility, I think. And I think they've done a great job already of just kind of taking these younger players under their wing.
You have an ID camp coming up on October 4th as you try to identify some new players to bring into the fold. How much are you looking forward to that and checking out some possible future Trojans? And what are you looking for on October 4th?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I love our ID camps are one of my favorite things that we do. So we're doing a 1-day camp. We'll be limiting it to 25 players due to COVID restrictions. But yeah, we're looking for people that are going to help move the team forward on the field. We're looking for all different types of players. We don't, I think we pride ourselves on not having one particular style of player on this team. We've got so many different unique personalities and styles. And I think that's what makes our team stronger. And then just people looking for a culture like Trevecca. We think this is an awesome place. You know, our athletic director, Mark Elliott, his motto for the athletic department is Christian Scholar Athlete, in that order. And so people who, you know, hear those words and like they get excited about it because we get excited about that. So and some of our current team will be there as well. So these, you know, recruits, any high school age recruit that thinks Trevecca might be a good fit, we'd love to have you.
And so what's the process for them if they do think it might be a good fit for them to come in on October 4th? Because I know you said space is limited.
Yeah, we if you go to our Instagram page, the link is in our bio, and then there's also a link on the TNU Trojans website under our camp, women's soccer camps.
Great. Kelsey, I know you're happy to be back in training. Good luck to you as you proceed through this new normal that we're in and look ahead to a spring season. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.